the LNTV News Live, 30 minutes of interesting developments from Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. I'm Maxwell Johnson, presenting on this 22nd of January 2019. And stories topping LNTV News Live this morning. President George Manawia hosts one-day dialogue with aggrieved residents of District Number 1 in Monserrado County. Coalition for Democratic Change government marks 1 year in office today. Plans are on the way for Liberia to receive the first biggest medical ship, Mercy ship, this February, says Presidential Press Secretary Sulu Kebe. And up the home front, Zimbabwe's opposition accuses government of brutal crackdown. These stories plus more coming up on this edition of LNTV News Live. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the details. LNTV News Live would now take our first story. President George Manawia says the government is willing to dialogue residents of the offender community to resolve unresolved issues affecting them. President Weah stated that his government will look into the plight of the people whose homes were demolished sometimes back by the U.S. administration. He spoke Monday when the citizens petitioned him to dialogue with them, him finding an amicable solution to their plights.
So we can say to see what the government for you. Because I listened to the superintendent, she said government continues. Government continues, yeah, we agree. You know, a lot of mistakes were made in the past. We don't want to blame anyone for those mistakes. I think we came and said that we are the best choice, and you can count on our leadership. So we have to continue where other previous leaders left the wheels. We have to continue driving from that point. So every mistake of the past government that fell into this present government, I think our government, we know it's a great challenge, but we are prepared to dialogue so we can solve most of this issue. And I hope that when we are on the table to find a resolution, we will understand that our demands will be reasonable and realistic, that we all can be helped. Because, as I said in my nation address, we inherited a very broke state. I know our critics will say no, but we know.
He's President George Manawia addressing affected residents of the Fender demolish exercise taken during the last government. Meanwhile, District Number 1 Representative Lawrence Morris thanked the president for coming to listen to the plights of his people.
When I joined the fight, I told you all that we would be in it together and that we should fight this fight on peaceful ground, that there was no need to be brutal. There was no need to be violent, but that we should tread a peaceful path. And that you have demonstrated. Our president is a peaceful man. And so hearing all of the peaceful things that you have been doing to reach this far, I believe has touched his heart. We want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to our cries. Thank you for listening to all of the different hurdles that our people have been going through. We are grateful that you are here today. And I believe that all of my people here are happy. And that we will walk away from here today with rejoicing.
Meanwhile, speaking on behalf of the aggrieved residents, Madam Viola Lincoln called on President George Manawia to swiftly intervene into the situation of their demolished homes.
Today I feel happy. My hope that was dashed have been restored. Our hope that was dashed have been restored. Our tears will be wiped away today. Because I said country again for again country people, right? The people say we are country people. And today God has seen our David, who is a country man, the country China, to fight for his country people. Is it there's all of this enough to make the country China there? When the people get document, then the people broke their property, killed their people, left a child. When they broke their home, what they died fair on him and marching up, and from that day to today, they lay Romeo King. They have not come to us. One of our brothers was killed during the time they were breaking our property. Many people die. Many people die. There are people who can't stand tension. They die from frustration. Somebody playing their bella boy and prepare to pay her, and somebody break it in one day time. Country China, that alone is enough to make you vex and revenge for your country people. It's enough. Country China, we agree to get portion of the land to the government to buy for them to use and relocate or and pay for our property. But they went against all of that. And being our government is continuity, your way of coming is not the way they came to us. And I remember I sat under your sermon. He said God gave people different talents. And if you don't manage your talents, he will take it for you. Failure is one of your talents that God has given you. And you need to multiply the talents that God has given you, so that you can live as long you want to live. The federal people say, country China. Country China. King David, thank you for coming.
The chief patron of sports, George Manaria, over the weekend hosted an appreciation dinner for organizers of the 2018-2019 National County Sports Meet. President Weah said the Ministry of Youth and Sports and its collaborating partners did exceptionally well in organizing and implementing the tournaments. He, however, encouraged the organizers of the tournament to see reason to include First Division players during the next tournament.
We need the next county meet to have 4 division players. Why? For a simple reason. The kids were enjoying themselves, but they need to be challenged. During our time, some of us become great footballers because when we were in the sub-division leagues, every league that the LFA sponsored or created, you have more than maybe 10 4-division players. For example, Mountain Survivor. We qualified from Lockington League with all IE and Barrow, St. Joseph and Barman players. But we were the greatest team in that league, even though they were 4th-division team. Because we were determined, whenever we see the team that have a 4th-division player, we want to crush them. But what they did for us, when we were selected to come to the 4th-division league, we already got used to those that were playing the 4th-division league. So we were not afraid anymore. You know, that's why we become good players, because we were determined, and the same people we saw in our local leagues, these are the same people who are playing on 4th division. So you see the teams, the young guys, we need to encourage them by making sure that they have challenge. You know, because so of them on the field, and you see the league, yes, the excitement was there. Every county want to enjoy it, but at the end of the day, after that, what we got, the national team did not profit because we did not see talent. So we need to make sure that the next county meet should be competitive.
Also speaking, the Senate Committee Chairman on Youth and Sports, Community Wisa, pledged the Senate's unflinching support to the Youth and Sports Ministry.
I have the very difficult honor to take the chair of the Committee on Youth and Sports in the Senate from the super legend. So, when we were fighting for the positions in the House, they think because I've been in the foreign ministry, the suggestion was that I would go for Committee on Foreign Affairs. Then they said, no, they said, you know what? You've been Minister of Youth and Sports, but there is a position that was held by the person who became president. I said, what is that? He said, Youth and Sports. I remember I was on that committee. I said, just give it to me. I want it. And we say, if we took it, we'll try hard to work with the minister, who we knew was also a distinguished football player, a good goalkeeper. And I think we've been doing it. We learned from him, from his stewardship, and so we have learned to work very closely with him, and the outcome in the last 2 years, the outcome is good. I must congratulate the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I'm very proud of that. I've seen what they've been doing. I come to visit them all the time. Even if there is a disagreement, we settle it right there. The minister is understanding because he served as an assistant minister there in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, so he grew up there. So, Mr. Minister, in front of the President, I want to say that we are very happy working with you. We know the legislature has not been budgeting all the money you need. But if we fall short, we know you can go somewhere else and get support. And I think you've been getting it. So, but we'll try. As we go into the next budget year, the more good you do, the better you will get.
A Christian group, the Body of Christ, will today, Tuesday, hold a one-day Thanksgiving service for the 1 year in office of the CDC-led government. Two senior organizers at the event told this station yesterday that every Liberian, especially the religious community and officials of government, have all reasons to give thanks to the Almighty God to appreciate the achievements of the government in just 1 year. Ambassador Melvin Down and Reverend Festus Logan said in a year's time, God granted President George Manawiya wisdom to achieve so much, including the construction of roads and the provision of free tuition for public universities and colleges across the country.
And for a lot of years, coming out as a child in that community, I've never seen a road. If you went in that community now, you understand the old ladies are all jubilating because they see some on a road that is passing through, going as far as this one. It tells you the relief the people are getting. Though things are not rosy, we cannot use this medium to say things are okay. No, things are not okay. But things are getting to be okay. For which, again, the Bible says little is much when God is in it, you know. And so I think for a little thing God done for you, you have to just celebrate and thank you for the more.
It is understandable that challenges has always been in our country from day to day. And trying to handle such challenge, I believe it takes real strength. It takes strong mind. It takes strong mentality. And which our president has provided for the past 12 months. We understand that when he took over first, it was actually challenging, most especially taking over a government that actually was depleted in every way. But for the level of success, for the amount of challenges, even though in the midst of those challenges, there are some gains. And based upon those gains, coming from a biblical perspective, when God does something for you, no matter how little it is, the first thing to do is to be appreciative to God. And we have come thus far to say, Lord, thank you for what you've been doing. And we are assured that when we thank God, greater things he's going to do, most especially in this 2019 as we approach or enter the second year of his presidency.
The government of Liberia has termed as false and misleading claims that the president is allegedly linked to the Yaka Kaluba Sonny's party disruption saga. According to Presidential Press Secretary Isaac Solo Kegbe, the president is more concerned about improving the living conditions of Liberians and will not have no time for petty political situation. He said the president remains committed to fulfilling his promises to his people, adding that no one will gain relevance at his expense. Mr. Kebe spoke Monday when he appeared on our sister program, the Super Money Show.
The government, in the first time in Africa, signed some 4 months back, signed a partnership agreement with Message. And they should be here sometime February or before the end of the first quarter of the year. For 5, my brother, in short, the president is too busy with the people of Liberia. The president dreams every day how he can make Liberia better. They will focus on who you call Representative Koluba. He's an honorable. He served in the honorable house as representative of district number 10. He needs to confine himself and behave as honorable people do, with all respect to the house. I think what we need to do, if I have my own way, not as a presidential press secretary, but if I were from district number 10, or if I have registered in Mosurado to vote, I will have petitioned Mosurado representative to call international experts for them to look within, to look among them and see people who really need to be demobilized to go back to be demobilized. Because some of us, we fought the war, but we now have the time to go through the DDR process. And this thing is stippling out of mind. If you are a member of the government, you must behave as a government official. But to gain relevance at the expense of the president is totally unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. And I think maybe.
Meanwhile, the presidential press secretary had disclosed plans for the arrival of the first biggest medical ship, Mercy ship, to the country in February. Well, it seems to be that our clip is not yet ready. Indeed, if you just joined us, a reminder that you are watching LNTV News Live, telling meanings of interesting developments coming from Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. I'm your uncle, Maxwell Johnson. A story tapping LNTV News Live this morning. President George Manawia hosts one-day dialogue with grief residents of District Number 1, Mosurado County. Coalition for Democratic Change government marks 1 year in office today, and plans are on the way for Liberia to receive the biggest medical ship, Mercy ship, this February, says Presidential Press Secretary Sulu Kebe. Another home from Zimbabwe opposition accuses government of brutal crackdown. Taking a break, we'll come back to bring you more developments. Welcome back to LNTV News Live. We'll now take another story. The Director General of the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, Francis Redd, says preparation leading to the holding of the 2019 census is well on course. Professor Redd said about 10,000 enumerators will be trained across the country in the draft to ensure that the conduct and subsequent report from the 2019 census will meet international standard. He spoke Monday on the Super Money Show.
The authority invested in us as the head of the census. We work along with the finance ministry, we also work along with our partners as they have been committed themselves to make sure that the census is compatible, because the source of information for the census will provide a baseline information for the global agenda. Once that is done, it will help us to do more. Because Liberia, the first census of Liberia was taken after 115 years when Liberia was founded. So the country was plain, it was not plain. You see, University of Liberia, Campbell, it could only accommodate 5,000 students that would be trained there, even at now. The planning at that time was done by heart. Planning Liberia at that time was done by heart. But now with the statistics coming in, the census coming in, we are able to know the number of persons in each area and the kind of intervention that we have. So with all due respect, the census be conducted, and we do the best to follow the principles and recommendations the National French for Census and Implementation to conduct the census so that it can meet international standards.
Okay.
At the same time, the public relations director of Lisjis Vafi Homes has termed as untrue and pure political allegations that the institutions has received $75,000 United States. He said Lisjis is non-political and is committed to working in the direct interests of the people.
Lisjis as an institution is non-political, and what we do at Lisjis is void of politics most of the time. We know that for census being the biggest national project or undertaking of any country, sometimes is poised to taking political, dimensions. Howbeit, we as a non-political statistical institution, we are supposed to ensure that our position is at all times non-political. I think the flagrant assertion and the bold-faced, falsified assertion that was made by the talk show host, Henry Costa, was again just another political meandering. I see it as something that should not be given credence, because as much as we know from an institutional standpoint, we are currently engaged. Matter of fact, we've been engaged with government since the start of this whole process, leading towards the census. We had a very successful census, induction of the commissioners of the census, and at that program, the Minister of Finance had said that the $3 million allotment from the GLL would be made available to Lisjis by January. And since the start of this month, we've been engaged with government.
City Hope Overseer Prophet Ezekiel Bangura is calling on Liberians to rather support in rebuilding Liberia, especially under the CDC-led government. Speaking during the dedication of the Forke Clone Gilane Family Fellowship Church, Prophet Bangura encouraged citizens to do away with negative vices that undermines development. Social Protection recently held a one-day workshop along with the National Legislature on the passage of the Domestic Violence Bill. The meeting was held Sunday at the Farmington Hotel in Margibi County. Richard Colley attended the program and our reports.
Traditional Leaders, Association of Female Lawyers of Liberia, Civil Society Organization, Rural Women, donor partners, among others, formed part of the section. Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister Wirimita Sedita provided the opening comments on the Domestic Violence Bill.
Whereas there is a high incidence of domestic violence within Liberian society, victims of domestic violence are among the most vulnerable members of society. Domestic violence takes on many forms. Acts of violence may be committed in a wide range of domestic relationships, and remedies currently available to the victims of domestic violence are proven ineffective. Whereas domestic violence is a serious social evil and a crime against the individual and society, we should not be excused or tolerated.
Health, Gender, Children and Social Protection Committee Chair
Senator Peter Coleman explained reasons why the domestic violence bill has suffered setbacks at the legislature.
We noticed that this bill has been lingering for some time. And the reason it has been lingering for some time is that we seem to have been talking about two different things. One is domestic violence, and another thing is bringing in traditional practices. And we are of the conviction, as we go to our committee room, that we'll try to separate it. Yes. We'll try to separate the two so that this domestic violence bill can sail swiftly towards its passage.
Liberia Traditional Council Chairman Chief Zazakawa provided the cultural perspective of the bill.
Yeah, the government people, we not need them, but we don't need no money to learn. The culture of that one that we are living, that was government by himself in the country. The culture that government by himself.
ECOWAS representative Babatunde Ajisomo and Swedish ambassador Ingrid Weatherfest pledged their support to the passage of the domestic violence bill.
For ECOWAS, domestic violence is a serious offense. It's a serious violence. It is a global violence. It is not peculiar to Liberia, not peculiar to our region. It's a social evil.
Liberia's social indicators, malnutrition, even stunting, maternal mortality, literacy, etc., are challenging. You have a hard job ahead of you in order to change this and to improve them.
From Farmington Hotel, I am Rachel Bangwe-Colley report.
Rachel Colley with that report. Of the home front now, Zimbabwe's opposition says its members have been victims of a brutal crackdown in response to violent protests against a sharp rise in the price of fuel. Movement for Democratic Change leader Nelson Chimansa said many of its members have been detained, including 4 MPs. He says security forces had attacked families in their homes. The government has blamed the MDC for stoking the violence. Rights groups say at least 12 people have been killed, but this has not been officially confirmed. The trade union umbrella group that called the protest, the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions, says its leader, Chafed Moyo, has also been arrested. Well, on that foreign note, that's how we've come to the end of this edition of LNTV News Live. Before we go, a quick recap of stories that may headline on this edition this morning. President George Manda, we are host one-day dialogue with the aggrieved residents of District Number 1 in Monserrate County. Coalition for Democratic Change government marks 1 year in office today. Plans are on the way for Liberia to receive the first biggest medical ship message this February, says Presidential Press Secretary Solo Kebe. Thanks so much for your view. Thanks to our editors and reporters for making this edition a success. Join us for our updates at 12, 2 and 4. Or better stay join us tonight for another fresh edition of our news bulletin. I've been your presenter, Maxwell Johnson, bidding you a very good day from Princeville.